likely had two members of our commission contact me and say they couldn't make it. And of course, sadly, Jennifer passed. We lost another member. So the reality is today will be a shorter meeting. But first point is, if I could have everybody who's not talking, please mute their microphone. That would be great. And that way we make sure that we cut background noise. And it looks like everybody's done that. Thank you so much. And I will also mute my microphone in honor of Jennifer Geddes, the most amazing person I've met in a long time. And I just ask for a moment of silence in memory of Jennifer. She was just amazing. Thank you very much. So we are moving on. Cynthia, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Cynthia is filling in for Allie today, but we'll start first with Beth. We will not do, Gina, yes?
You know, I tried to join by phone and I didn't have a passcode. It wasn't provided. So I don't know if that's prohibiting anybody else you're expecting on the meeting.
Gina,
Just
I can't
let you know.
I'm sorry, I don't know. We sent out what they gave us, okay? Thank you. Beth, if you could go ahead and give your report, that'd be great.
Okay, well, I'm going to just say the main news is that we are opening incrementally on the week of June 7th. May 24th, the newsletter will be online for June because everything's going to still be by reservation. All the directions will be there. We're also asking people the week of May 24th, if they want a hard copy, to stop by and they can pick up a hard copy as well instead of printing the whole thing off. We're still going to be and probably as we move forward, a virtual senior center as well as an in-house senior center. We are taking this a little slower than all these recommendations that have suddenly fallen away on the wayside. But we are going to mask, we're going to social distance, all our rooms are going to be gridded apart. We are going to go with the numbers of a limited number. We're not going to have people in the building more than an hour for each activity. The wood shop will be open an hour a day. The computer room will be open an hour a day. We will continue with drive-through lunch until we get better intel on how we're supposed to do that one. And for all we know, that'll be lifted soon too. But we feel that the plan that we had moving forward was really, parallel with our healthcare facilities. Since we do have the demographic that is having the highest breakthrough that are double vaccinated and they're still getting COVID either asymptomatically or mildly. So the vaccine is working. Doesn't mean the vaccine is not working, but it just means that there still is spread even if you have the vaccine. So since our demographic 65 and above is still experiencing that, and I actually spoke with somebody at the library today who's going to keep the mask order going also. They're not going to lift it indoors either. I spoke to Kara this morning. So we're going to move a little bit slower than Town Hall is going to be moving. We were originally told that we weren't being able to ask for vaccination cards and that kind of thing. So we'll see how that's changed. But people will sign a waiver that come in and they'll get a packet of information of what we're doing in the center to sanitize it and keep it as safe as we possibly can. And moving forward, we will be an in-center and a virtual senior center, I think, for the, in perpetuity now, because we've found the really good things about virtual, like we can do programs in the evening. We're going to work on our technology, changing technology a little bit here as well. Computer classes. I had my meeting with the first selectman and the town administrator yesterday. We may be revamping the computer room so that we can also have iPad access. And to teach people skills, because moving forward, we know that these skills are going to be necessary no matter what. So we're embracing that as part of our kind of quality of life and education program for the next few years coming. So it's a big first step. I have to say our small but mighty staff has been absolutely amazing with grab and go programs. I can't tell you how many people have come into the building for little mental health reboots, The caregiver stuff that I've been doing it's an actually tremendous amount of people that we have connected with for information and referral over this time too. So the center has been working. We were allowed to hire, it was an approved position last budget, but because of COVID, we didn't fill it, an activity assistant. So Donna Savage is her name. She just started with us, 19 and a half hours, and basically is going to support and widen Instagram, Facebook, all of that nice stuff. And she's going to work with us in terms of all of our events and activities too, as we rebuild. So it's kind of a good time to bring somebody on as we, you know, I gave this example because I'm a carpenter's daughter. The idea of renovating causes great anxiety. And in the way I've been looking at this is 12 years of work, you know, has been kind of slapped around and smashed. So I decided that I'm going to look at this instead of as a renovation, as a rebuild. So we are moving forward, rebuilding and restructuring for the future and for what the needs of our demographic is for the future. So instead, now it seems like an exciting thing rather than a daunting thing as a reminder. So it's good to tear it all down and build it all back up again. And we are requiring all of our instructors that are coming back in are all vaccinated. Our whole staff is vaccinated. And again, like I said, we're going to do every protocol that was in place last month. We're going to be doing for the whole month of June, and we'll see how that works out. And we ask everybody to be patient. I was talking to an infectious disease doctor yesterday who said, we're in a marathon and we're at the 20-mile mark. It's not time to sit down for the last 6 miles. You're working with a demographic that we still got to take extra care of. So he kind of you know, really validated what my gut is saying, that June would have been the greatest time to do what we're doing, but you know, it's moving along for many different reasons. So we'll just see how June goes. So all of our signups also, you'll see it in the newsletter. We're starting with our Darien residents on May 24th to sign up, right when it comes out, and our non-resident members, and we are not taking any other members that are non-residents right now. Our members that were non-residents before are still with us, and there's quite a few of them. Their sign-up's going to start Wednesday, June 2nd. So that we're fair to our residents in terms of getting because of the number limits for this amount of time right now. So that's what I've been working on more than anything else. And Stacy's been getting all the programs back in again. And it's nice. We've reconnected with most of our instructors. And, you know, they have apprehensions too. They wanted to make sure that we were following all these protocols or they weren't coming back. So we have to understand that we're all digesting this at a different level, and we have to honor each other and be peaceful with each other and say that even a small move is good news. So just embrace that and know that if there's some areas even in town that are a little bit more restrictive than others, it's only because we're trying to take care of people, not because we're being political or otherwise. We're just trying to take the most tender care that we can until we hear the fangs are really out of this thing. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think your point's very well made. Just within my own clientele, I have clients who now want to come in unmasked with no problem. I also have clients who still want to sign their documents outside, masked. So I think we all have to recognize that each person has a different risk tolerance in this era. And so we all have to cut each other a lot of slack and figure out, you know, and not cast aspersions one way or another, and accept that, you know, certain places will have masks, certain won't. Certain people will be masked for the rest of their lives, seemingly. Others want to rip them off 10 minutes ago. So to the extent that we can all cut each other some slack during this period, it's just going to be so vital.
Case in point there, Joe, we've been doing outdoor entertainments, and we had a big one this last Friday. We have another one this Friday, and there were 4 cars that people will not get out of their cars. They watch the entertainment from their cars. They eat their lunch from the cars. And that's where they're still at. Then there were folks that, stayed the 6-foot distance and masked after they ate. Then there were those folks who rolled a table out and sat around and took their masks off. And I had to keep them from going into other groups not masked just to keep people comfortable. So in that little microcosm of about, I think we were like 44 people, you saw what it's going to be like when we move inside. So you're right. This is going to take a lot of tenderness, patience, and compassion to meet everybody where they are at this point.
Excellent. Questions for Beth? Looking around, seeing none. Thanks so much, Beth. Very much appreciate it. And Cynthia, you are here for Allie. I understand it's Allie's birthday today, so happy birthday, Allie, when she watches the video. And Cynthia, if you can give us a human services report, we'd really appreciate it.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Cynthia Hall. Darien Human Services continues to assist the health department with the scheduling of the COVID-19 vaccines for homebound residents. So anyone who's a Darien resident and is homebound can call our office to schedule an appointment. Anyone who's over 18 can walk into one of our clinics on Wednesdays. We have just started the renter's rebate program this week. So to be eligible, you have to be 65 years or older or be receiving Social Security disability benefits. I'm going to be coordinating the program, so anyone who's interested can contact me directly. And the income guidelines are $37,600 for singles, and for married couples, $45,800. We're still accepting applications for the Energy Assistance Program. For anyone that heats with oil, they have until tomorrow, May 20th, to apply. And for the individuals who heat with gas and electric, they have until June 15th. We just ended the Operation Fuel Winter Program on May 14th, which is last Friday, and the new summer session will start on July 12th. And we are continuing to accept calls for our emergency list. So anyone that is vulnerable that you think will benefit from being on our list, please let us know and we'll reach out to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Anybody have any questions for Cynthia? Seeing none, we really appreciate you stepping in. We hope to see more of you around Town Hall and when Allie can't make it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we will then move on to old business. Peter, you got any reports for us relating what's going on with the legislature, et cetera?
I sure do. Let's start with the Darien Library. We finished on the 15th, 40 days of mask-to-mask assistance to tax aid, and believe it or not, through the library's incredible work, more than 540 people actually were filed during that period, as well as hundreds and hundreds more that we have processed online. The library is now completely back open, started on Monday the 17th. You ought to go visit it. For example, they've done some incredible renovation themselves with the computers, for example. There's more safety, there's more privacy. So they've really done some step ups as well, just like what will be occurring at the Mathis Center, I'm sure. So again, we'd encourage you to attend. And again, yeah, you still have to mask inside the building, and there are some other rules, as most institutions will have. But again, we'd encourage the participation. So that's for the library. Every mailbox in town last week got the birthday announcement. And I want to point out the first event is the Weed Beach Festival night. It's the Bicentennial Bash. It's Friday, June the 4th from 6 to 8, but reservations are required, and Parks and Recs have not yet put out the reservations. So I'd encourage you to look for it. If the weather's not nice that day, it'll be on Saturday, but really it's the culmination of really what's been put off for a year. And so we'd really encourage folks to come. The journal and everything else, it's all moving forward. And again, we just encourage your participation. If you haven't got it, look for it in your mailbox. AARP, I'm not going to spend, I could spend 15 or 20 minutes talking. I'm not going to do that about what's going on in Hartford. Governor Lamont's powers, emergency powers, have been extended through July the 20th. There's a few restrictions on them, but the sausage mill at the Capitol is grinding out and looking at their closing on May the 20th. So again, I just would encourage everyone to pay attention. And if you have particular issues that you're following, realize that they're going to be coming to a conclusion fairly quickly now. ARP has, again, a great schedule of events. And again, you can find them at www.arp.org/CT events. I printed it out and it's 4 pages long. I saw one, Joe, that you might be interested in. It's Thinking Outside the Box on Elder Law. It's a webinar, and that's going to be held on June the 16th. So a really broad range of programs. Again, AARP focusing on elder care issues, on senior employment, and again, on also the medical practices that we need to follow today. The Darien Times, I don't know if any of you or all of you have seen it, but Susan Schultz is no longer the editor of the Darien Times, sadly. That's the case. Again, as part of the Hearst restructuring and how they operate their suburban newspaper chain. The good news is Susan is going to stay with her. She's going to be doing articles more on a perhaps a broader or freelance basis, but I think sadly our community has lost, I think, a very strong voice and advocate. Susan was the editor for, I think, the last 16 years. So we're going to miss her.
Yeah, I'll jump in right there too, Peter. You're absolutely right. Susan was an amazing resource for this town. In other words, she covered everything to the extent possible very fairly, thoroughly, really made that paper sing. And so loss of her is just really, really devastating because she is an amazing person. And long story short, you know, she's going to be missed. And I don't know how they're going to replace her. I know that her shoes are incredibly large to fill, and God forbid they don't fill them at all. That's what's scary is, you know, so we'll have to see how it plays out. But man, you're absolutely right. She's just amazing.
Yeah, and there's subtle changes as well. I mean, the Darien Times has always had the policy of printing every letter written to them. I don't think that's the policy any longer. And some of this is going to go unnoticed. The paper's getting weaker. But again, as community members, we continue to need to make our voices heard. And if we can't make it heard at Darien Times, then perhaps we have to make them heard at the Stamford Advocate. But again, it's something we need to keep doing. And one final thing, and that is among us today is someone who's going to celebrate her 10th anniversary, I think, in the next few weeks, leading at home in Darien. And my hat's off to Gina for the great work she's done in the 11 years that the organization's been in place and the 10 years she's been our leader. And so I would like to at least publicly recognize Gina as Commission on Aging members should. That's it, Joe.
Thank you. I will add my thanks to Gina for a great decade. You guys are doing fantastic work. It's so cool to see how you guys work with Allie and Cynthia and Beth and everybody else, the churches and other places, to really serve our seniors in town. So thank you so much for that and all your good work on that behalf. And I'll turn it over to you on that note. Do you have anything to report on At Home in Darien?
Well, yeah, hello, everybody, and thank you so much. That's so kind of you to remember. I forgot, and so that was very kind of you. I wanted to, and it's my pleasure to help Darien senior citizens to work with the Senior Center and Human Services. It's been a wonderful relationship and just to the benefit of the community. So delighted to be able to be part of it. At Home in Darien is continuing to work to provide rides. So if anybody needs transportation when things are opening up, we would be happy to bring you wherever you need to go. We're returning to normal. I see it happening already, so it's great. And also, I wanted to let everybody know that be out and about. Our newsletter will be in mailboxes coming this week, so please keep an eye out for it. It's our annual report for 2020, and it was despite all the pandemic issues, it was a good year. We provided lots of important services, and we continue to provide those services, grocery shopping, visiting now, and whatnot, that seniors need to stay connected to the community.
Fantastic, thank you. The reality of our situation, I'll report back. I have been in touch with the Democratic Town Committee to try to get a replacement for one of our members who left us in April. And of course, working with the Republican Town Committee to find someone to fill the very large shoes of Jennifer. So we will continue to try to get more members of the Commission on Aging and encourage people to be able to make our meetings so that we can have a quorum, because at this moment we do not, and therefore we will not approve our minutes, which are on the agenda from April, or nor will we do any voting relating to a chair and a vice chair. On that note, if you're interested, I'll put it back on the agenda for June, and so we can elect a new vice chair and a new chair to go forward. Also, because of COVID, some of our appointments have actually expired. So I will be working with the selectmen to try to get folks reappointed who have expired on our commission. So we'll keep the ball rolling. It's just a lot still going on. And also back to our earlier conversation of being gentle and recognizing that things don't move as fast as you'd like them to move in COVID world. So you have to be willing to say, okay, we'll keep going as we're going, and we'll do that. Now, one question for everyone, and that is, do you want to go virtual or do you want to try to do this in person in June? My general feeling is probably staying virtual makes sense through the July meeting and looking at September, just because at that juncture, town hall and everything else, if we're not in good shape in September, we're in much bigger problems than we think we have. But is that okay with everybody to stay virtual for the next two meetings, June and July? And then, of course, we have no August meeting, and then think about going back in person in September. If that's cool with you, you can say yes, raise your hand or whatever. Or if you say, Joe, go ahead, Peter.
I'd like to comment on that, Joe. I think that's fine, but I think it's terribly important, given our turnover and expansion, that we do meet face to face, because many of us don't know each other. And while we can know each other maybe through what we see or who we know or friendship, I think a face to face is important. So I would say, yes, let's wait until September. But you know what? Let's be more assertive in getting together face to face starting in September, again, assuming health conditions permit it.
I agree. I miss everybody face to face. The meetings are better face to face, and the reality is it'd be great for all of us to do it. And so we'll target September for our face to face going forward, and hopefully that will work for everybody. Is there any other old business? Hearing none. Do I hear of any new business? Hearing none. Can I have a motion to close the meeting of the May Commission on Aging? Thank you, Jim. Second. Thank you very much, Peter and Jerry. Good seeing everybody. Great to see all of you. Thanks for your help, and I look forward to seeing you guys in June. Have a great day.
Bye.